Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. The channel will be dedicated to teaching Slovene as a foreign language. I've recently started tutoring Slovene via Skype, and I was surprised to find out how little there is online to help one learn. There really is a lack of resources, and I think that's a huge shame, since I imagine there must be at least some people interested in getting to know Slovene. Now, when learning a foreign language, I'm usually faced with the opposite problem. Sure, it depends on the language, but for all the bigger languages, there are generally many resources to choose from. They all claim to be the best, and the problem then is to make sense of it all and find out what works best for you. This can be pretty frustrating and time-consuming, especially if you're like me and like to have one reference point or basically one thing you'd like to stick to in the beginning to keep things as straightforward as possible. Different people explain things in different ways, and approaches to teaching differ a lot, so it's important to find something that's optimal for you. Well, with Slovene this certainly isn't the case, and actually the opposite is true. The main problem is definitely a lack of resources. Especially if you're looking for free online resources, then there's really not that much out there to choose from. So I thought, since I'm already preparing lessons for the tutoring and often find myself thinking about English and Slovene, why not upload some lessons to YouTube and take it from there? When I begin learning a new language, or anything else for that matter, I'm not satisfied until I've found the main reference point or source of information that I think works best for me. It usually takes a while to find, and after I've found it, I regret quote-unquote wasting all of that time on basically scouting and information gathering instead of learning. This doesn't mean I only stick to one resource. Of course, I branch out, I use whatever is useful out there, but I always feel comfortable knowing I have a solid resource I can always go back to. It's nice to know there's already a trail for you to walk on, so to speak, and all you have to do is put in the work. So, when I do find what I'm looking for, I always make a mental note and think about what I'd do differently if the roles were reversed, if I was the one doing the teaching. So, I want to help people minimize that initial phase as much as possible, because why wouldn't you want to start off learning as efficiently as possible right away? And that's ideally where I'd like this channel to go. I want it to be a useful resource for learning Slovene with lots of different lessons and exercises in one place. So, everyone who has some degree and interest in Slovene should find the channel useful. That's pretty much the only requirement, along with a working knowledge of English. It doesn't matter how proficient you are or why you chose to learn Slovene. We'll start off with the very basics and gradually move on to more difficult material. Both complete beginners and advanced students will find the channel useful. It doesn't matter if you're visiting the country for a brief period of time and just want to learn the basic phrases and so on, or if you're an exchange student or someone that's been living in Slovenia for several years. You will benefit if you're willing to put in the work. Maybe someone will even make use of the lessons in other ways, such as for example for a native Slovene to better understand his or her own language by seeing it compared to English. The lessons will be in English and will compare and contrast both languages. I think one of the most important things when learning anything is comparing two similar yet different things. This creates a good backdrop for anchor points and makes it easier to retain new information, since what's different tends to stand out more. Because the channel is in English, it may look like native English speakers have an edge over non-native speakers, since in their case we're comparing Slovene to their mother tongue. But then again, if English isn't your mother tongue, you potentially have an even bigger edge, since you're forced to compare three languages right away, which essentially means you're viewing an item from three different viewpoints that can all help you better understand. Well, kudos if you've actually made it this far. Since the video is as unentertaining as it gets, I take it that you're actually interested in learning Slovene. In that case, I suggest you check out the channel and see what it has to offer. If you're a complete beginner, I suggest starting with the Is Slovene Difficult clip and then moving on to the alphabet. If you already know some Slovene, just look for lessons that you think are best for you. For any questions, suggestions, or anything else really, email me at info@abcslovene.com. I'd be glad to hear your opinion so I can always keep improving. Any feedback is welcome. Good luck, study hard, and aim for the stars.